In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use AI in your B2B marketing. I'm talking about relationship building, high-level decision makers with large companies. If you want to get a 10 to 20x ROI using AI right now in your B2B marketing, then check this out. Before we do that, let's just talk about what marketing is. At the end of the day, marketing is really one thing. You need your target market to see your message, and AI is going to help drastically with that. Because if you really think about it, the internet is only made of one thing. There's only one thing the entire internet consists of, and that one thing is content. That's all it is. It's the only thing you can find on the internet, right, is content. And what's cool is content breaks down to only 4 things. You probably guessed what those are. It's audio, text, video, and images. Those are the only things that exist, right, on the internet that you can actually consume. And as a business, you need to be able to deploy some or all of these. The cool part about AI is it can help with every single one, right? I'm talking about being able to write blogs, email nurture, articles, case studies, video scripts, social media posts, podcasts, images even now. Everything is at your fingertips. Before, you might need a large staff of individual contributors to be able to achieve some or all of these things with a high degree of skill, a knowledge of your industry and space, but now you don't need nearly any of that. Of course, you want a subject matter expert that's going to make sure some of the stuff is accurate because, of course, the AI is not perfect and can make mistakes, but this can cut down drastically on the amount of time you need to put in to create really quality content. Now, of course, disclaimer here, you don't want to use exactly what it spits out because the search engines are getting really good at detecting that, nor should you, right? You want to have your own personal brand and image inside here, but AI can absolutely help you produce more content. The lowest hanging fruit when it comes to content, rather than posting on your social media and doing all this other stuff, in my opinion, being in marketing for over a decade, is email marketing. It is not dead, not by a long shot. All right, you can actually use an email newsletter to connect with your audience. If you think about it, you spend all this time trying to generate leads and generate business. You're earning all of this traffic, whether it's SEO, pay-per-click, whatever. You want to take the traffic you earn and turn it into the traffic you own. Right, that's really important. And when someone's on your email list, you basically can market to them for almost free. Sure, there's a component where email marketing software costs money, but it's incremental compared to what it would cost to earn their eyeballs on a Google paid ad or what have you. So it's really important to understand this is a direct line of communication with your decision makers, with your target market. It can change everything the way you do it. You have the ability to just build this relationship and this rapport with your list, and you're not going to do it of buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. That is not going to work. You need to build a brand, build a relationship. So here's some quick do's and don'ts. You want to really just educate and entertain, right? If you can educate, entertain your target audience, they're going to want to come back for more, right? You don't want to just constantly sell to them and say, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my product, buy my service. We have a sale, we have a sale. In consumer marketing, obviously there's more sales that go on, and that is an important thing, like that urgency and scarcity. Can you do it in B2B? I've seen it done sometimes, but it's really more important to educate and entertain and provide value. So let me give you an example. One of our clients did a fantastic job. They basically would summarize like important industry news, curate all the best articles, write little summaries for each one, and this was like their bi-weekly newsletter. They sent this out twice a week. Their engagement was through the roof because it was really important for people in that industry to understand what was going on as the industry was changing and evolving. And then what they would do on the back end is understand who the most engaged people were on those emails and actually reach out to them with sales reps. So there's a strategy there, which I'll dive into another video, but I just want to highlight the importance of email marketing. And here's an interesting graphic that will show you exactly why it matters. This is a constant contact. I think it's their graphic, so sorry if I missed that one. But email marketing has some of the highest ROI, and the reason is mostly because you don't need to invest much money to actually do it. Right, the softwares that are required are very inexpensive. You can get very fancy with your marketing automation software, but in this particular video, I'm talking about the lowest hanging fruit, something that any B2B company can deploy right away, and you can use email to do that. The how. Here's an interesting way to do it. So ChatGPT and other models, you can train them on the type of emails that you typically write by feeding it to them and asking it to learn that, and then you can use a prompt called act as, so that it will write the email as if it's you. You're still gonna need to tweak and modify it, but this allows you to do it really effectively. And here's a prompt, an example of what I wrote. Act as Matt Monteleone and write a 200-word email. Important is finding your tribe, meaning the people that resonate with your message. Use the example of how when a motorcycle drives by the street, it's very loud, 98% of people hate it, but 2% love it and want a motorcycle. Use that analogy to find your tribe. So what I did here was I told it approximately what I wanted to say, how long it would be, and I used an analogy or a metaphor in here because here's what starts happening as you get into this, you just need to write down these ideas on a regular basis. Anything that you see that's relevant, whether it's on a news show, walking down the street, what have you. So here's how I came up with this idea. I was literally sitting at a restaurant with my wife, beautiful day, and these loud motorcycles drive down the street, super loud, couldn't hear anybody, or the exhaust is coming out, and I'm like, oh man, who would want a motorcycle? But then I looked over and I saw these two guys that were like really into it. I guess they loved motorcycles, and I could tell that they were like, man, I wish I had that. So that's a good example of something I would put in a marketing email, showing that you're going to repel people that aren't a good fit and attract people that are, and that's really what you're doing in marketing. So I wanted it to use an analogy based on that, and as you get into a rhythm of this stuff, you'll just start writing down ideas and stupid things like that as they come to you, so you can use them in your marketing later. Remember, it's education and entertainment. It's not just sell, sell, sell. Here's some more best practices. Again, 90% value, 10% selling. I'm not saying don't ask for something in these emails, a sale or a meeting or what have you, but you want it to be like 90-10, because you basically there's a concept that a number of people talk about, Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, Cole Gordon, a number of people that I admire and respect in terms of their business acumen, and you have this well of goodwill from a client, right? You have a gauge, almost like a thermometer. And every time that you ask them for something, you deplete it a little bit. You add value, you increase it, deplete. So if you're always selling, you've depleted all the goodwill, and you've even trained your audience not to pay attention to your message. You might say, email marketing's never worked for me. Well, most of the time that's because you literally sold the entire time. You just pitched over and over again, and then you trained the audience not to listen to your message because they know it's a giant sales pitch. So why would they ever open your email again? They're gonna unsubscribe, they're not gonna be interested. It's 90% value, 10% selling. Also, the frequency matters. If you think about how often we are bombarded with marketing messages now in 2024 and beyond, it's ridiculous, right? It's your phone, it's the TV, it's the radio, it's every single thing under the sun. So you need to be there relatively frequently. So anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week is honestly the right spot to be. Now, there is certain situations where it might be a little bit less frequent depending on your industry, but it seems like a lot. But as long as you're providing value and something of interest that's educating and entertaining, it's not overkill. Do your research. One of the ways to do your research is to you're probably already subscribed to a number of either competitors or just things you like that are industry specific, and you can see what they're doing and why you opened a particular email, why it's important. And again, write down these ideas as you come to you. You're out with your friends, you're out with your kids, whatever it is, and you come up with an idea where there's a metaphor or analogy or something that makes sense and resonates with you. Write that down, because you'll use that later in your content. I hope this has been useful for you. I hope this added some value, and that you see that this is something you can deploy very quickly and easily to actually get a strong level of lead flow and be able to connect with your target market in a powerful way. Now, important thing about these nurture-based emails, these are mass emails I'm talking about. You definitely want to make sure that these are all opted in and you're allowed to send to them. That's key. You can't just buy a list of 100,000 people and start blasting. That's not the right thing to do. And you want to make sure you're following best practices, so you might want to hire a consultant or reach out to somebody to make sure you're doing that, or someone your company might know. But I highly recommend you get one of these email newsletters going right away. There's no excuse now that you have AI at your fingertips, and will allow you to produce content very quickly and easily. In subsequent videos, I'll show you how you can take this to the next level and how you can use some of the data you gather from the email engagement to assign quality leads to sales reps, so you know who's visiting the site, who's interacting with your content, and who you should reach out to right now. But I hope this was valuable for you in the interim, and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.